Now only at 5:30, a massive data center has been approved for construction on a former military base called the Jefferson Proving Grounds north of Madison, Indiana. An Indiana consumer advocacy group says it will be one of the largest data centers in the country.
Well, the power estimates are hypothetical until the landowners announce what type of data center it will be.
However, one expert told our Travis Breeze that based on its announced square footage, this project might need as much electricity as Duke Energy Indiana's entire power grid.
The former airfield at Jefferson Proving Grounds has sat mostly unused since the Army closed the base in the late 1990s. The Ford family, who owns the land, wants to turn 549 acres into a 7.1 million square foot data center.
If you were a person that believed that we have to have data centers, would this be a good place for one?
Well, I think that any place can be a good place for a data center as long as the city's government puts into place the protections that it needs for its community.
Madison resident John Sinclair was among the hundreds of people who protested this project at a May 20th meeting. The Jefferson County, Indiana Board of Zoning Appeals ruled the project complies with heavy industrial zoning. At 7.1 million square feet, this facility could be 4 times larger than the data center coming to Louisville's Rubbertown neighborhood.
Does the infrastructure that we have, is it capable of supporting that? Will it raise ratepayer agreements in this time?
The Ford family has not disclosed if it's working with a company to operate this data center or how much electricity it will need.
Right now, we don't have a ton of information on. What we have seen publicly released is that it could be one of the largest data center complexes in America.
Ben Inskeep and Citizens Action Coalition have been tracking Indiana's data center boom. He offered one comparison to estimate this project's power demand.
The Meta data center under construction in Lebanon, Indiana, says it's going to have about 4 million square feet and use 1,000 megawatts of power.
1,000 megawatts equals 1 gigawatt, and the Jefferson County data center is supposed to be 78% larger than the one in Lebanon, Indiana. University of Chicago computer science professor Dr. Andrew Chen says power use can vary greatly. It depends if the data center is storing people's emails and pictures or if it's running artificial intelligence modules.
The most extreme ones are what people are building a lot these days, these AI training data centers. At the other end of the spectrum, you have traditional cloud data centers, and the ratio between them might be as much as 20 to 1. In terms of power density.
Dr. Chen says depending on what kind of data center this is, it could need between 1 and 9 gigawatts of electricity. Duke Energy Indiana has 6.8 gigawatts of maximum electricity generation across the state, according to a company spokesperson. I asked Duke Energy multiple times if it has the capacity or a plan to energize this facility. The company only wanted to speak in generalities, saying there are various ways to meet customers' needs, whether it's through new generation or power purchase agreements. While the Fords will not say what company might want the center, Focus found the rendering they submitted as an example of one data center building is almost identical to a rendering used for a QTS data center in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We asked QTS if it is involved in the project, and the company has not responded. Daniel Ford said in a text to me, JPG Redevelopment LLC submitted professionally engineered elevations and prototypical building renderings to illustrate the character of the proposed buildings.
WHAS 11 News once again.
Despite multiple calls, emails, and texts over the last month, the Ford family did not answer Focus's other questions about the project's power needs.
We have about 20,000 residents, and we're going to need another 1 million residents worth of power. I don't know how that happens.
Before adding a customer this large, Duke would need approval from the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. An IURC spokesperson says it has no open cases regarding the project. A Duke spokesperson says regular customers don't finance any part of data center projects, saying, quote, large users cover their own cost of service to protect existing customers.
A business can promise whatever they want, but unless if it's in writing and signed with legal consequences, I don't know that I necessarily trust that.
Both Inskeep and Dr. Chen say even if the unknown operator pays its own costs, the data center boom is leading to a scarcity of electricity, which drives up costs.
Your utility rates could still be increasing because when your utility needs to go out and build a new power plant to serve its customers, those costs are going to be much higher than they have been historically.
Daniel Ford told us in a past interview the project will bring 300 to 450 jobs. Planning documents say 50 jobs will remain after construction. Ford also says it will bring $60 million per year in tax revenue for the county. Sinclair says there are too many unanswered questions right now to celebrate those economic benefits.
But without that information, I don't think I can make a decision about whether or not that money is valuable or not.
The data center may be tucked away on private property, but the debate over its impact is very much public.
3 people who live near this data center site are challenging the Board of Zoning Appeals decision on May 20th, saying that this project actually should not have been compliant with heavy industrial zoning. Since we began working on this story, plans were announced for a data center in Carrollton, Kentucky, about 30 miles away. Based on acreage, that project could be the same size as the Jefferson Proving Grounds project. Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.